Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast. At the Dusty Roads, we believe in living our life as a global citizen. We also love to talk a lot about history because we are great believers that to understand other cultures, countries, people, or societies, that history can help to show us the way. If you've listened to me, you know that one of the things that I love is sailing. But today I'm not going to talk about sailing specifically, but more about explorers and some of their adventures and how they really help to shape human history in a lot of ways. I'm going to list out 10 of the more popular ones. Of course, one when we talk about it is Magellan, Fernando Magellan, from 1480 to 1521. He was the first circumnavigator. He was a Portuguese sailor, and this is what I love about the Portuguese, is they were really great sailors. And he led to the first successful circumnavigation of the globe. His expedition in 1519 to 1522 proved that the world was round and much more extensive than previously thought. So here's a man who wasn't afraid to think he was going to go off the deep end and disappear forever. In fact, he proved that the world was actually round. He wasn't afraid of that. I really love that about him because he really shows us the courage. He proved the feasibility of global navigation. He discovered the Strait Magellan, an essential route connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and he expanded European understanding of world geography. You know, some lessons we can learn today from him is that he teaches about the perseverance in the face of adversity. His crew endured starvation, mutinies, and uncharted waters. His journey reminds us that bold exploration requires both courage and meticulous planning. And that's why he makes it as my number one as one of the explorers. The other one, of course, is Christopher Columbus, which was from 1451 to 1506. He became known as the New World pioneer. He was an Italian navigator. He was sailing under the Spanish flag, and he embarked on the famous voyage of 1492. His aim was to find a westward route to Asia. Instead, he landed in the Caribbean, opening the Americans to European exploration and colonization. You know, why he's important is he initiated the European colonization of America. He demonstrated the possibility of transatlantic travel, and he changed global trade and cultural exchanges forever. So because of Christopher Columbus, he really changed the world. What we can learn from him is that Columbus's journey emphasizes the importance of taking calculated risks. While controversially due to the impact of colonization, his voyage reminds us of the power of curiosity and the drive to push beyond perceived limits. And of course, because of Christopher Columbus, we celebrate Thanksgiving Day, and we also in America, and we also have the colonization of America. James Cook was from 1728 to 1779, and he is known as a Pacific cartographer. He was an explorer, but he made 3 significant voyages to the Pacific, mapping vast areas of the region, including Australia, New Zealand, and Hawaii. His meticulous charting and scientific approach revolutionized naval exploration. He created some of the most accurate maps of the Pacific, which of course allowed then other explorers to go after him. He discovered and documented many previously unknown lands and cultures, and he advanced maritime navigation techniques. Even though he's a bit controversial because of the Hawaiian Islands, but Cook was known to be methodical and scientific approach, and he teaches the value of preparation and adaptability. And he had a great commitment to knowledge and discovery that remains a model for even modern day explorers. Leif Erikson, he was a Viking, and he was sort of a trailblazer for all of these. He was a Norse explorer and believed to have reached North America around 1000, nearly 500 years before Columbus. So, he really was not afraid to go out into that deep ocean and go long way away. He established a settlement of Vinland, modern-day Newfoundland, Canada, proving that the Vikings had the capability for transatlantic exploration. He's important because he's one of the first Americans to reach North America. He demonstrated the maritime prowess of the Vikings, that the Vikings were not to be messed with, that the Vikings were there, that they were going to establish trade. He established early trade and cultural exchanges to the North Atlantic. His journey teaches us the significance of oral history and exploration beyond the familiar. His story reminds us that discovery is not always about conquest, but also the resilience of travelers seeking new lands. Another one which most people don't even really know about is a Chinese explorer named Zheng He, and he was China's great admiral. He was from 1371 to 1433. And during the early 15th century, Chinese explorer Zheng He led 7 massive expeditions across the Indian Ocean, reaching as far as Africa and the Middle East. His fleet, more significant than any other that Europe had, helped expand Chinese influence throughout diplomacy and trade. He showcased a lot of China's advanced naval technology, which at this time was quite advanced compared to the rest of the world. He fostered trade and diplomatic ties with distant regions, and he demonstrated peaceful exploration and cultural exchange. Zheng He's expeditions exemplify the power of diplomacy and exploration, and his legacy teaches us that expanding knowledge and influence does not always require conquest, that he really was a true and pure explorer. Next on my list is a Francis Drake. And Francis Drake was from 1540 to 1596. He was known to be the daring privateer. And he was a Sir Francis Drake, who was an English sea captain and privateer. He became the first Englishman to circumvent the globe, and his raids against Spanish ships and colonies made him a hero in England and a villain, of course, in Spain. He strengthened England's naval power. He disrupted Spanish dominance in the Americas, and he established England's reputation as a significant maritime force. It teaches us that the role of strategic thinking in navigation and conflicts, and his ability to adapt to changing circumstances made him a formidable explorer and leader. Bartholomew Diaz was from 1450 to the 1500s. He was the first to round Africa, and he was a Portuguese explorer. He was the first European to sail around the southern tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope. He proved that a sea route to Asia was possible. He facilitated Portuguese dominance to the spice trade and advanced European knowledge of the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. He shows us how important persistence was. He took the risks, and he was able to navigate this very important horn around Africa. Henry Hudson became the Arctic explorer. He sought the elusive Northwest Passage to Asia. Though unsuccessful, he explored vast areas of North America, including the river and bay that now bears his name, Hudson Bay, of course. And he's important because he mapped parts of North America and the Arctic. He contributed Dutch and English territorial claims, and he expanded geographical knowledge despite his tragic disappearance. Today we can learn from him his fate that a crew mutiny reminds us of the risks of leadership in uncharted territories. His persistence in seeking new routes remains an inspiration. Vasco da Gama, he was an Indian Ocean trailblazer, and he was from 1460 to 1524. He was the first European to reach India by sea, establishing a direct maritime trade route between Europe and Asia. He's important because he opened up the spice trade for Portugal. He bypassed overland routes controlled by other powers, and he strengthened European presence in the Indian Ocean. He demonstrates the economic impact of exploration, and his success paved the way for global trade, demonstrating long-term benefits of strategic navigation. Jean Bartlett, from 1740 to 1870. Now, I love her because she's the first woman to circumvent the globe, a woman that was way ahead of her time. She was a French botanist and disguised herself as a man to join an 18th century expedition and became the first woman to circumvent the world. Why she's important is because she broke gender barriers in exploration. She collected valuable botanical specimens and proved that curiosity and resistance know no bounds. A lesson we can learn from her today is to show determination in breaking societal norms. And her contribution reminds us that exploration should be open to all genders, especially women, where women at the time it was not open to them at this time, but yet she made sure that it was. If you'd like to be able to read my blog on this, there'll be a link in the description for this, my post, which is called Sailing Through History, 10 Famous Maritime Explorers and Their Adventures. I love these maritime explorers because I feel like they're really the true adventurers. These were people that went to unknown territory, didn't know where they were going, didn't know what they would find, did not even know if they'd return. I mean, imagine their families. Like, you leave for 3 years, 4 years, have no idea whether you're going to ever see them again. And you just wait and wait and wait for them to return to see if they're ever going to return home again. So these are really the true explorers who really went out there and explored the world. And because of them, we owe them a great debt of gratitude for the things that they were explored, the routes that they opened up, and all the many other things that they did. Thank you so much for listening. We truly do appreciate you listening to the Dusty Roads podcast. And if you'd like to, we hope that you'll join our community, become part of us, and that you'll press that subscribe button. Thank you so much.